It's been a while since we've talked, Helen. Do you have a moment to chat right now?
Hi, Mrs. Melanie. I hope your day has been good. Sure, yes. I'm free right now. Is something the matter?
You see, I'd like to talk about my birthday that's coming up. If I recall correctly, I did tell everyone a while ago to come to my house for it, right?
Yes, you did. It's this upcoming weekend, isn't it?
Yes, yes. You've got a great memory, sweetie. Well, I've decided that I'd rather not have you come.
Oh, I see. I guess I'll refund our tickets then. I'll be sure to let James and Hannah know that we won't be coming after all.
No, no, no. That's not what I'm saying. I'd still like for the two of them to come. I only want you to stay home. I love them.
So, you mean you only want me to stay home?
You can't blame me, Helen. It's my special day after all. I'm not sure how many more I'll have to celebrate. Seeing your face alongside my beautiful son and granddaughter would leave a sour taste in my mouth.
Okay, Mrs. Melanie. I'll make sure you don't have to cross paths with me this weekend.
Thank you for understanding, dearie. And by the way, if you could, don't tell James that I said this to you, okay?
What? Why not?
If you keep your mouth shut, then I'll count that as your present to me this year. You'll do that much for me, won't you, Helen? Please don't go around ruining one of my last remaining birthdays.
I think you have plenty of fulfilling years ahead of you.
Oh, please. No matter how much you try to butter me up, I'm still not letting you set foot in my house this weekend.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come off as though I was trying to sweet talk you. That's not my intention.
At the very least, you could give me a grandson after all these years. Before you gave birth to Hannah, I thought my opinion of you might change for the better if you gave birth to a boy. Yet, here we are. Just one girl and an only child at that. No child can grow up well without a brother or sister to play with, you know. That child, all she does is talk back to me. You'd think she would have grown out of that cheeky attitude of hers by now. I wouldn't have any complaints if she just tried to get on my good side every once in a while.
To be fair, I think you've disliked me ever since we first met. You've been saying you hate the way I look and how worthless I am. Saying I've brought nothing to this family since the very beginning, haven't you? I don't know if you see it this way, but I have tried very, very hard to get you to see my positive qualities. No matter how much effort I put in, your opinion of me still doesn't change. So honestly, I gave up on trying to please you.
Clearly, I don't think you've tried hard enough, dearie. All you had to do was put on a little more makeup to cover that face of yours, and let James do the talking more. Then I could have seen you as a good enough wife for him. I just can't understand why he chose you of all people. I know some fine woman that would love to be with him, you know. Like any proper woman of my time, I put effort into my good looks, and I attracted a great husband because of it. Why do men go for such lowly women nowadays?
James loves me for who I am on the inside, not for how I look on the outside.
Oh, please. So you're going to tell me that a woman who treats her mother-in-law so viciously is good deep down inside? I don't have time for jokes. I just hope poor Hannah doesn't turn out to be like you. She still mostly resembles her father at this age, and I can only hope it stays that way. And God forbid she inherits your nasty attitude. I think she'd be beyond saving.
Sorry to interrupt you. I have to head back to the house now. So let's talk about this another time.
Oh, sure. Go ahead and run off to your husband. Someday he'll realize how horrible you are. Hopefully before it's too late. Go ahead. Run off now. And be a dear and remember not to tag along to my birthday party, all right? Because that is the one thing that would completely ruin my day.
Mrs. Melanie, if you have a moment, I'd like to talk to you about my daughter.
Oh? What is it? I'm about to start dinner, so I'd appreciate it if you could keep it short.
It's about what happened at your birthday party the other day. You said something horrible to her, didn't you?
I think you may be mistaken, dear. I don't recall anything of the sort. Perhaps you're mistaking it with something you said to me instead.
This is not the time to play dumb with me. You went up to her at the party and said she wasn't your son's child, didn't you? You said that James isn't her father and that her real father is someone I went off and had an affair with. Why would you say something so ridiculous to my child? She's been upset for days after you said that to her. You know, she's usually so cheerful, but she's been locking herself in a room and refusing to come out. It's not like her at all.
Don't tell me she actually took what I said seriously. Ha! I was only telling a joke. I thought I made that much obvious.
She's only in 3rd grade. How was she supposed to know it was a joke? She told me you said that if she were to tell anyone the truth, her father and I would break up. You even went out of your way to threaten my child with such nonsense. I never thought you would go this far. To your own family. She came up to me, bawling her eyes out, and asked, "Am I not Mummy and Daddy's child?"
Yes, and? She still believes that she isn't James's child? You've got to admit that's hilarious.
This is not something to be laughing about. I tried to tell her it wasn't true, but even now she still doesn't totally believe me. You need to apologize to Hannah as soon as you can. I want you to go after her and tell her that nothing you said was true.
Come on now. It was just a little joke. Nothing to cause such a big fuss about. Surely it didn't cause enough of a stir for me to go up to the girl and apologize. Why should I have to apologize to a 3rd grader for making a little adult joke anyway? Besides, at the end of the day, it's Hannah's fault she's in this mess.
It's Hannah's fault? How do you figure that? What could she have possibly done to deserve this from you?
After she said hi to me at my birthday party, she came up to me and whispered in my ear, "Please don't be mean to my mommy anymore. You've been telling your daughter about my criticisms and twisting them to make it seem like I'm in the wrong. I was just getting a little payback for what you did to me. And now you're going to tell me that I'm in the wrong and not you or her?"
I never told Hannah that you were bullying me. All she did was see the way you treat me every day and figured it out for herself. You're not as subtle as you think you are, you know.
I can hardly believe that. I can hardly believe that. As if she'd come to that conclusion without you making up stories about me. To think that the both of you talk back to me so incessantly. To think that she's a young girl and even I can't find her behavior cute. Imagine what kind of girl would grow up with that kind of attitude. And I'll have you know some medicine. I was only fed up with you before. But now I don't want either of you stepping foot inside my house again. I'll make sure to let James know that that's what you want.
After this time, I have a feeling he won't be stepping foot inside your house again either.
Oh hell, frightening. At this point, I don't care if I don't see him again either. To be fully honest, I've been fed up with him too. My son who chose a woman like you of all people. Frankly, it's unforgivable how he chooses you over me no matter what the issue is. What kind of man takes his wife's side over his aging mother?
So that's all it takes for you to cut your son out of your life, is it?
Well, yes, it is. I've had it with people like you, and I have no obligation to keep meritless people in my life during my twilight years. Of course, that isn't to say that I don't care for him an awful lot. At the end of the day, I am his mother after all.
So that's how it's going to be. Are you saying you have no intention of apologizing to Hannah for what you said to her?
Why on earth would I? Clearly, you weren't paying attention to a word of what I've said. I said that I have no need for worthless people in my life. If you're ever down on your luck and you need family by your side, just know you won't be hearing from me. And you know what? I'm not even going to send Hannah a birthday present this year.
That's fine by me. I don't need people like you in my life, either. You're an incompetent woman through and through.
I'll have you know Mr. Waters is going to hear all about this too, and I'm sure you won't be happy about it either. When he hears just how cruel you've been to me, it'll send him into a fit of rage, I'm sure. He sticks to my side no matter what. You are free to do as you please. If you keep this up, I might have to make some changes to my will. Changes that are not in your favor. Will that change your mind about the way you've been acting? This is your last chance to tell me you're sorry, and you're not getting another one.
I don't want anything to do with your inheritance. I couldn't care less.
Is that so? Don't go thinking you'll never need that money. Even if you regret it later, I'm not changing my mind after this. Even if you've come to me begging on your knees for help, you aren't going to get a single penny from me. I need to have a word with you. You see, Hannah was here visiting my house just a moment ago.
You better not have put any more strange ideas in her head.
It looks like she still hasn't let up about the joke I made the other day. Boy, was she cross with me, stomping her foot at me and saying she was her mommy and daddy's child. I had to stop myself from laughing. She really is just like you, going out of her way to refute me so stubbornly.
So that's what happened. I hope you're not lying to me this time.
She really just would not let up. I got tired of her talking my ear off with that whiny little voice of hers. She told me you even went in for a DNA test? Not the sharpest tool in the shed, are you? That's how far you had to go to get her to believe you? Maybe you do have something to hide after all. I wouldn't put it past you.
I just wanted to give Hannah a little peace of mind. That's all. At first, I thought she wouldn't be able to wrap her head around it, even if I showed her the results of the test.
Honestly, I would have been glad to hear that she isn't really James's child after all. Just imagine the fit she would have thrown if she found out that's the case. The face she'd have made would have been priceless. Ugh, even imagining how the house would be in shambles after the ensuing fight. Boy, I'd have to bring a camera.
Actually, I think the ones that are fighting would be you and your son. He's in the living room crying right now, you know. After all, he just found out that he's not actually related to your husband.
What? I don't understand what you're saying.
I'm saying that the DNA report said that your husband isn't actually James's father. Both of them gave DNA samples, you know.
What are you trying to claim? I don't understand. You're saying that not only my son, but my husband also took the test? What does he have to do with this?
My husband was worried about Hannah too, so he called up who he thought was his father on the phone.
I don't understand a word of what you're saying. The test has to be wrong then. I can't think of any other reason why it would say they aren't related. Is this company even real? Or are you pulling a fast one on me to get back at me?
It's real. In fact, we sent the samples to 2 different companies to be sure we didn't get a false positive. It says clearly in the results that both James and Gerald don't share the same DNA. Gerald must have suspected this for a long time himself, for him to agree to do this with us on such short notice. I guess the truth can't stay hidden forever.
Any fool could see right through your lies.
He said that he suspected you must have had an affair with someone else in secret, some time before he found out you were pregnant with James.
I don't believe this. Why would he ever mention that to the likes of you?
He said that he was there when you told that horrible lie to Hannah, and it reignited the doubt he held in his heart about you. He just wanted to find a better resolution to the worries he's had for so long.
Now hold it right there. So you're saying the reason he was out of the house yesterday, it wasn't because he was on a business trip like he said, but because of that instead? He was lying to me this whole time?
I suppose so. But you're the last person that should be angry about someone lying.
So, he's at your house right now? I'm coming over right now. Well, then tell me, just where on earth is he right now?
Actually, he's not home right now.
Well, then tell me, just where on earth is he right now? Answer me.
You see, he's actually told us not to tell you, so I'm afraid I can't answer that. He did say that he would be contacting you in the near future, though. If I were you, I'd just sit back and wait until I heard from him directly.
In the near future? That's not an answer. I want to know exactly how soon.
I have no way of knowing that. He's probably up somewhere trying to collect his thoughts, considering everything that's happened.
Please, Helen, tell me where my husband is. I want to apologize to him for everything that's happened.
There's no way I'm telling you that. If you want to know so desperately, then just be patient and wait for him to contact you first.
Oh, Helen! You have to help me! My husband said he wants to get a divorce with me. After all these years we've spent together. I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Is that so? Too bad, I guess.
Don't think that I've forgotten that this was all you and your family's fault either. If you hadn't gone out of your way to get something as crazy as a DNA test done just to satisfy your daughter, none of this would be happening right now. If we do end up getting a divorce, I'm rightfully putting all the responsibility on you. Got it?
Okay. Why do you say that this is me and my family's fault? Truthfully, I don't think that's the case at all. If I recall correctly, you're the one who lied to my daughter's face and set off this whole fiasco in the first place.
Well, obviously I didn't think she'd take me seriously. It was just a joke after all. Parents tell their children nonsense all the time. Like how a stork delivered them to their doorstep. That sort of silly thing. It's the child's fault if they actually take that as fact. Telling silly little lies to children is something that happens all the time. I don't see why this case is so special.
I think that what you told my daughter was in fact not a silly little lie. You told her that she's the child of an affair. How in the world is that a normal joke to tell a child? It's disturbing. And of course, Hannah would be disturbed by that herself. She's been hauled up, depressed in her room. Who wouldn't, if they thought that's what really happened? Yet, somehow, you still blame it on my family instead of yourself. Plus, didn't you say earlier that even if I came to you begging on my hands and knees, you wouldn't let me in?
I apologize to Hannah for the joke. I really will.
If you actually want to, and you're not just saying that, then that's fine with me. And by fine with me, I meant it'd be completely pointless. Hannah already has the proof she needs that she really is James and I's child. Your apology isn't going to change anything at this point.
Helen, dearie, I have a big favor I want to ask of you. I'm desperate here. I want you to be a mediator for us. With Gerald and James on one side and me on the other, I need you to help us sort out all of this together calmly. You see, I've called them countless times for the past few days, and they haven't picked up once. I'm worried they plan on severing our relationship. Even today when I finally got to see my husband again, I just wanted things to go back to normal, but he wouldn't listen to a word I said. I even acknowledged how I hurt him in the past by having an affair, and I apologized profusely.
So you're saying he still hasn't forgiven you for what you did?
He hasn't, but I don't understand why. Things between us have been better than ever up until now. And for him to suddenly turn his back on James and denounce him as his legitimate child is utterly cruel of him. He's taking the past 30 years of our happy marriage together and throwing them out the window.
I think the one who should be saying that is your husband, not you. Besides, there's one thing that you said that I feel the need to correct for your husband's sake. He said that even if they aren't related by blood, he still considers James to be his son, no matter what. He even said that directly to him.
What? Well, then why is he still choosing to divorce me? If he has no problem with James's lineage, then what other problem could there possibly be?
I think the only problem remaining here is you. Isn't it obvious? The reason all of this happened is because you spread that sick adultery joke to Hannah at the party. He'd been trying to sweep his doubts under the rug until you said that. You're the one who riled him up, enough for him to settle his doubts for good. Besides that, I think he finally is sick of your nasty behavior after you caused this whole fiasco. He must have had a good heart for him to be able to put up with you for so long.
My nasty behavior? What on earth did I even do?
To start with, you're constantly bullying me. That's one example. I'm not the only one who's been subjected to your bad behavior either. You bully your friends and your neighbors too. At least that's what I heard from your husband. If someone treats you the wrong way, even in the slightest, you don't hesitate to tear them down. That, and you have a reputation for starting preposterous rumors about others. What finally tipped things over the edge, though, was how you purposely hurt your granddaughter. Seemed to be like your husband has a mountain of viable reasons to divorce you.
I'll change. I won't act cruelly to people anymore. I won't let anyone else be hurt by my flip and my behavior ever again. Please, Helen. I need him by my side.
Apologizing to me at this point doesn't change the harm you've done to me and my family, and your husband too.
I'm apologizing to you because nobody else will answer my calls. What else am I supposed to do? Even when I finally got to meet with my husband again in person, the only person who would listen to me was the lawyer that was present. No matter how I explain things to him, my husband refuses to see my side of things. Helen, you're the only one I can say any of this to anymore. Nobody else in the world would listen to me.
Even so, you're expecting me, of all people, to hear you out even though I've been your number one target for as long as I've known you. You can't seriously expect me to forget all the cruel words you've spoken to me over the years.
I know. But listen to me. I said I apologize. Won't you take that to heart? For my sake?
No matter how many times you say you're sorry, I don't think any of them is genuine. After all, you're the kind of person who only thinks about herself. I know that very well by now. I've already decided that I'm cutting off all ties with you. If anything, I should have made this decision years ago.
No, please, don't say such things. You don't know what you're saying. I don't know how many lies I need to tell you for you to understand, but I'm deeply sorry about everything up until now. I'm sorry for saying James would be better off parenting Hannah alone and making fun of your appearance. It was wrong of me to do so. I was completely in the wrong.
I understand.
Really? You understand me then? So that means you'll forgive me for everything I've done, right? Oh, I'm so glad. Helen, this will fix everything.
Not quite. All I'm saying is that I've acknowledged your apology. That doesn't mean I have to forgive you for everything you've done to me and my family.
But why? Don't you see? I'm on my hands and knees here. What more do I have to do to get through to you that I regret my actions?
This is what you've had coming. You sowed the seeds. Don't act surprised when they start to sprout. I don't see why it's such an issue for me to treat you the same way you swore you'd treat me if I were in your situation.
Don't take that so seriously. I only said it in the heat of the moment. I didn't really mean it. I was only trying to rile you up.
Well, you should think before you speak. Most people take what others say at face value, you know. Why is it my problem that your temper got out of control?
I truly am sorry for what I said. You're my beautiful daughter-in-law, you know. You've always been to me, deep down. I'll never say a cruel thing to you again. I swear it. You don't deserve that kind of behavior from your mother-in-law. So please, tell my Gerald to reconsider his decision on the divorce. And tell James too. I just want both of them to see my side of things.
I'd rather not, actually. You have no idea how much pain my family suffered because of you. You can't possibly expect me to forgive you after everything. I have no obligation to keep meritless people in my life. That's a lesson I learned from you. It's far too late for you to apologize for all the damage you've done. Can't you see? There's nobody left who needs you in their life anymore. Not a single person, haha. After that, Mr. and Mrs. Melanie met with the mediator to discuss the possibility of a divorce. In the end, Mrs. Melanie broke down crying and admitted defeat, leading to the divorce proceedings being finalized. She must have realized that Mr. Melanie's feeling for her could never return to the way they were before. At least, that's how I see it. After their divorce was finalized, she moved out of the home they once shared and began living alone in an apartment. Apparently, Gerald did end up having to pay her alimony, meaning she'll probably be okay on her own in the short term. However, being unable to work in her old age, she won't be able to maintain her quality of living for very long unless she somehow remarries. Having spent her whole adult life as a housewife to Gerald, she'll probably have a rough future awaiting her, having to somehow provide for herself. Aside from that, she needs help doing basic tasks due to her age, and she's used to rely on him and the rest of her family for help. Unfortunately, due to her behavior, it seems that everyone close to her has more or less cut her out of their lives, meaning she no longer has anyone she can rely on for help. While money will certainly become an issue for her, the bigger issue she faces is ensuring the life of loneliness she'll have to endure. Once she realizes this fact, she'll really regret her actions. As sad as that might seem, she's merely reaping what she's sowed. So personally, I don't have any sympathy for her. She'll have plenty of time to reflect on everything she's done to lead up to this point, I'm sure. As for Gerald and my husband James, the two of them have been spending lots of time together as of late. Of course, they've always had a great relationship to begin with, but after everything that's happened between them, it seems like their bond has grown even stronger. However, he's told me that he, too, had grown tired of his mother's behavior, and is glad to have this major source of drama in his life resolved after having to put up with it for so long. Apparently, he also had lingering doubts throughout his life about why he and his father looked nothing alike. Now he's happy that he and his father were finally able to resolve this unspoken feeling and now have ease between them. Now that his mother isn't around anymore, no one will be able to hurt our family ever again. I hope more than anything that our fresh start will have a life of peace and quiet awaiting us.